and welcome to a brand new episode of Health 360. On the show this week, we're telling you all about this mad rush for proteins. Why does everyone want a slice of the protein pie? How much protein is essential for all of us? Why are Indians so deficient in proteins? And what can excessive protein do to a human body? All of that and much more up ahead on the show. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360. From gym goers to fitness influencers, everybody is talking about and flaunting how much protein and what are the kinds of protein that they consume. But why is protein all that important, and how much damage and what's the kind of damage that too much protein can do to your gut health? Our experts are weighing in and telling you all that you need to know about proteins. Who doesn't love a good protein? Who isn't obsessed with proteins nowadays? But for a country that gets 62% of its calories from carbohydrates, protein is becoming the new big buzzword when it comes to our nutrition. And we are now waking up to the benefits of protein, which also then brings us to the question, what kind of protein is good for you? Is protein powder even for you? What should you be consuming in terms of added protein? And how bad is too much protein? How counterproductive can too much protein be in that sense? First of all, why are Indians protein deficient?
Indians are protein deficient for two reasons. First, we don't have enough knowledge that how much protein is required for your particular activity and as per your body weight. Second reason is because of social, economic, culture background. We don't prioritize protein, and as you guys know, we are a more prominent vegetarian country where the protein sources are very less.
Once only a staple of gym goers trying to bulk up, millions of consumers are now watching their protein intake and asking for healthy products without compromising on taste. It's growing awareness and celebrity influence. End result? Everyone is gushing about the higher protein intake.
Well, for starters, it's easy, it's convenient, and in under 60 seconds, I can get up to 25 to 30 grams of high quality protein. But here's what you need to remember. It, at the end of the day, is a supplement. It is in no way, shape, or form going to replace protein coming from real food sources. So if you're strapped for time or you don't have an opportunity to feed yourself, a protein shake works wonders. But it is in no way, shape, or form a meal replacement, and that's where people go wrong, and then they overdo it, and it becomes like a protein eating competition, which is not required.
So, who really is the ideal candidate for a protein supplement?
Any healthy person can take protein supplement if they are not able to meet their protein requirement through organic food. But if an individual wants to build muscle or look more toned, or if they're vegan or vegetarian, their protein requirement is important, and that's why we are supposed to supplement it with protein supplements. Otherwise, if someone is recovering from any kind of illness or any kind of surgery, they also need a higher protein supplementation.
And what type of people should be absolutely cautious?
So let's say if you have a 1 liter water bottle, if you try stuffing in 3 liters of water into it, what will happen? It will overflow. The same happens with the body. Once it's met its protein requirements based on your age, your athletic abilities, or the training needs that you have, everything will be stored. The remaining of it, that is, will be stored as excess body fat. So you want to calibrate the protein which is just enough to fuel your exercise or your day to day life, whatever that may be, and not eat in excess. Because if you eat in excess, that eventually will be stored as body fat. So, no, more protein is not always better.
Why is the food first approach important?
When you are eating protein from organic natural sources, you're not only giving your body protein but other nutrients also. Every organic food is an array of different nutrients, which comprises of protein, carbs, fiber, fat, and essential vitamins and minerals. So we always recommend to go for food first approach, because by that you can provide your body not just protein but other essential nutrients as well.
And how does one gauge their protein deficient?
Anyone who is feeling tired and feeling fatigue for some time, and they are also experiencing hair thinning, skin darkening. Apart from that, you can also get your blood work done, and from there you can see the markers whether you're protein deficient or not.
Protein powders are dietary supplements, and supplements aren't a regulated market. And that's the reason why we've seen instances of contaminants in protein supplements as well. So you need to factor that in and choose the brands accordingly. Be very cautious about what you're consuming. Athletes certainly need to know what really is going into their protein shake. Amul MD Jayen Mehta is now joining us. Thank you for your time. Take us, through your range of products that offer protein. There's protein in everything, really, even protein water. This is protein for an ever-growing bunch of enthusiastic protein lovers.
As you know, we at Amul over the last couple of years have launched very interesting range of high protein products, which can be consumed during the different times of the day, depending upon what your preferences are,
Right.
and also meeting the protein requirements which you have. So, we have always believed that each one of us need to consume 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight every day.
Tell us a little about this market. Do you see it growing even further on? And what really is driving it all of a sudden?
It's more of the consumer awareness and education which is driving the category. And that's what we at Amul, ever since we started our protein foray, have been mentioning that if all of us get enough and more awareness of how much protein we consume during the regular day with whatever food items that we consume, then we will be taking care of our health and nutritional requirements in the most proper way.
I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. I'm going to thank you for joining in and sharing your views. Health food brand Yoga Bar, that started in 2014 with protein energy bars, has evolved from a premium brand into a mainstream one, now selling even in tier 2 and tier 3 markets.
Absolutely. The demand and the growth of this category has been quite incredible. A few reasons out there. Firstly, as the economic prosperity of the nation increases, especially as the per capita income of developing countries increases, there is usually a trend where people start consuming more protein, and we are at that inflection point in that country. Secondly, we are also the world's largest population of vegetarians in
Yes,
in the
yes.
country, right? Which inherently means that in many ways, most of us, about 60 to 70% based on various sources, are inherently protein deficient. And I would say the third point is that there is far more awareness about how important protein is today as a macro, how simple carbs, if you take them in larger quantities, which Indians tend to do, is quite can become quite problematic as you age. And I think that awareness has started to creep in part because some of the awareness campaigns and all that young brands like us have done. But this is also a global phenomena. So if you look at it, protein now is everywhere globally. In the US, it's not just like ice creams, but it would also be in things like carbonated beverages. So I think this trend is here to stay for some time. But the growth has really been quite phenomenal about this.
But when protein is added to commonly consumed foods like milk, yogurt, and paneer, it can be a useful way to increase their protein density. The problem really is when proteins are added to highly processed junk foods, high in fat, sugar, and salt, like cookies, chocolates, cakes, kulfis, all of these sugary things, then the problem really starts. So how does yoga bar really balance it out then, Aditya?
Unfortunate reality of modern life is that often it is quite hard and sometimes virtually impossible to do that all the time. So our objective is to be the next best thing in anyone's pantry. And because of that, you will always, and that is only because everything in our products, we use nutrition dense ingredients. We make sure that our macros are balanced. It's not just the proteins, but it's also the complex carbs, the fibers, the other micronutrients that go in. And that has historically been our objective.
This market for food items with proteins, with added proteins, is only growing, and those people interested in consuming more proteins are willing to pay that extra buck. That, of course, is fueling an entire economy of proteins. This report is going to give you an idea about the booming market for proteins.
India's protein-based product market touched 38,000 crore rupees in 2024 and is projected to soar to 1.36 lakh crores by 2033, growing at over 15% every year. India's average daily protein intake has been increasing over the years. Brands are racing to meet the new protein demand. Amul alone plans to launch 12 new high-protein products this year. Milky Mist has a paneer with 50 grams of protein in one pack. And new brands like Super You, co-founded by actor Ranveer Singh, are reimagining snacks.
A lot of packaged food shows added protein on the label, but this is mostly a marketing trick. The actual protein added is often very little. As consumer, we need to look everyone beyond the label and understand the overall nutrition value of what we eat.
According to a study by ICRISAT and IFPRI, over 80% of Indian households still consume less protein than recommended. That's because 60 to 75% of our protein comes from cereals like rice and wheat, poor in essential amino acids. Experts say the focus should shift from just more protein to better protein. But all protein isn't created equal. Nutritionists warn against protein washing, adding protein to high-fat, high-sugar snacks just to appear healthy.
Foods like dal, egg, paneer, nuts, chicken, fish, and millets are naturally offers good quality of protein. Protein bars, biscuits, and shakes often have high sugar just to improve the taste of the food. This sugar reduces the healthier benefits of the protein. Look for the products that have less sugar, below 5 grams of sugar per servings, or even better, no added sugar at all.
Protein products come at a premium because protein isolate costs between 700 and 1,500 rupees a kilo. So if a bar needs to deliver 10 grams of protein, that alone adds at least 5 rupees to the cost. Research shows that consumers are willing to pay a 15 to 20% premium for healthier variants.
For now, it seems like protein is very popular and here to stay. You see it in your wafers, in your laddu, and even in your curd. And it's become popular because in a fast-paced urban life, you can't just keep eating large amounts of food to hit your protein goals daily. And this is where the FMCG companies are coming in and filling this gap. But the message is clear, even as India's protein economy is flexing its muscles. It's not about eating more protein, it's about eating the right kind of protein. With Lokendra Pandey, Milan Sharma for India Today.
In the process of making proteins the star of our meals, the star of our plate, what really has happened is that other nutrients are suffering. Our plates are not as diversified as it should have been. We're having protein-fortified chapatis, yogurt, even our snacks have protein in them. What about other nutrients? We've seen carbohydrates, the good kinds even, getting vilified. Fiber has been cornered completely, and this is leading to problems. This is the protein era. It's in your morning brew, your post-workout bites, your midnight popcorn. Online, everyone's counting grams like their currency. Somewhere between diet fads and fitness culture, carbs lost their reputation and protein became a moral choice. What started as nutrition science is now pop culture. Beneath the gleam of high-protein perfection, sculpted silhouettes and metabolism made holy, something subtler is happening deep in the gut. Carbs have become public enemy number one, and protein the hero of every plate. Sure, it's vital, but the fixation is overblown, especially when it sidelines fiber, good fats and the variety our bodies actually need.
Any carbohydrate that spikes your blood sugar too fast is not good for you. The usual suspects are refined and ultra processed carbs like bread or pastas or donuts or pancakes, bottled juices for breakfast, as opposed to, let's say, a roti or paratha, which is far more safer. Think of carbohydrate sources that have some real fiber and have gone through lesser processing. So fruits and veggies, great source of carbs. Whole wheat grains, great source of carbs. So if you could, put together your breakfast with more real food that has gone through lesser processing, you're going to be in a much better state of health.
Nowadays, carbs are kind of demonized because it leads to weight gain. But people have it is half awareness, because complex carbs, which are rich in fiber, are essential in your diet. So everyday meals which have whole grains, oats, quinoa, all these are good source of carbs, and you must have this in your everyday diet, because these carbs will provide you slow supply of energy that is required for you to carry out your day without any irritation.
But are we overdoing our proteins?
Average Indian adult needs around 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilo of ideal body weight. Yes, you heard me right, daily. So if you weigh around 60 kilos, you need around 50 to 60 grams of protein every single day to perform all the activities and to have good hair, skin, etc. But some people need more, especially women after 30, because muscle mass drops and hormones shift, especially with perimenopause and menopause. Athletes, runners, gym goers, people recovering from infections, surgeries, or chronic inflammation, vegetarians and vegans who rely mainly on plant proteins. We all need more protein.
So what really happens when you do too much protein?
When you consume more protein than your body can actually digest, break down, assimilate, and utilize, 5 things happen. Number 1, there is a digestive overload. There's bloating, gas, constipation, acidity, microbiome imbalance. Number 2, there's a burden on your kidneys, especially if your water intake is low. Number 3, calcium loss from bones. Yes, when protein is extremely high for longer period of time, you lose your calcium. Number 5, gut microbiome imbalance, because excessive protein ferments in your colon and it kind of gives you a dysbiosis. Number 5, weight gain. Yes, excessive protein gets stored as fat because it also has calories.
Fiber also seems to have become a casualty in this narrative, unfortunately. This really isn't an argument against protein. It is against overdoing it and ignoring essential carbs and fiber in the process. In India, 1 in every 1,000 people is affected by cancer. That's nearly 15 lakh cases every single year. For patients and their families, it's often a journey filled with uncertainty and a relentless fight for survival. But today, genomics, the study of our genes, is changing the way we understand and manage this disease, offering hope to millions across the world. Well, to help us know more about this growing field and how it's addressing the cancer burden in India, I'm being joined by Dr. Vedam Ramprasad, CEO of MedGenome, one of the leading voices in genomic science and precision diagnostics. Thank you for your time. I want to ask you about cancer cases rising rapidly in the country. However, just 70% of these cases are diagnosed in later stages of the disease. Why are so many cases still being detected so late, sir?
Thank you, Sneha. The two reasons, one reason lack of awareness, especially among the larger population, larger people, number of people who do not realize the importance of identifying certain symptoms and also participating in the preventive screening approaches like cervical HPV screening in cervical cancer. If these are people are more aware and they come forward to get into the screening, they can be detected much early, and because they are not very effectively done across the country in majority of the populations, the cancer is detected much late in advanced stages.
You know, does family history determine one's risk of cancer, and how is genomics enabling people in that sense to understand these risks? What kind of tests also are available in this space?
So that's very important question. Family history would not determine but increases significantly the probability or risk of getting a cancer. If there is a cancer running in the family, especially first degree relatives are having cancer, then the chance or probability of getting cancer in the first degree relatives is very high, but it is not guaranteed that they will get the cancer. The risk is very high. Now, second point on the genomic markers, yes, there are certain genes, critical genes, which when they are mutated, they cause cancer, and these genes and mutations can be inherited across generations.
Tell us, how is genomics helping in the treatment process now? What are the latest tools available in India today?
Yeah, so genomics helps us in two ways. One, early detection, as I mentioned. If you identify mutations in some of these genes, especially in familial cancers or cancers which come very early, you will be able to warn them, alert them, and they can prevent the cancer, number one. Number two, in the treatment per se, there are certain cancers, if not all of them, there are certain cancers like lung cancer, ovarian, prostate, breast cancer, cholangiocarcinoma, that's a liver cancer, hepatitis, different types of cancers, where if you identify certain genetic mutations in the tumor tissue, there are certain targeted therapies which work extremely well compared to conventional therapies, and they increase the overall survival of the patient with the cancer, or even progression-free survival of the patients. For example, there is a gene called EGFR, which you identify it is mutated in lung cancer tissues. You give a specific targeted treatment. It works much more effectively compared to giving only a conventional therapy. So this type of genetic based therapies are increasing, and today roughly about 20 to 25% of the cases overall are being treated using identifying based on the genomic approaches.
You know, tell us about what your thoughts really are on the big question of affordability, accessibility, and awareness, importantly, of genomics-led early intervention for cancer in India, sir.
Yeah, so first, awareness is extremely important, the right awareness. Awareness is catching up very fast in India, at least in larger cities, tier 2, tier 3 cities, in towns. Majority of the clinicians and to some extent the common people know about these things fairly well, and every stakeholder who are responsible are creating more and more awareness. Second point on the affordability, yes, these are relatively costly ones, doing genetic based testing or screening. They are a little expensive, may not be in the reach of everybody in the country. However, there are many ways as how this cost can be mitigated. For example, we offer subsidized tests for below poverty line patients. Government is sponsoring through Ayushman Bharat and various other health schemes in the states. There are pharmaceutical companies who are working to give a kind of a co-pay models. There are many other mechanisms as which the cost is mitigated, but still I would say that compared to the regular tests, these are not so affordable. We hope as the technology improves, the costs of the tests go down, the technology makes it more accessible, these tests will become more affordable.
I'm going to leave it at that. Dr. Ramprasad, thank you for joining in, for shedding light on how genetics and the insights can truly empower doctors, patients and their families, not just with the right diagnosis, but also treatment, but by making informed choices and taking charge of your health. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. All of our reports can be found on our website, that's indiatoday.in. You can download the app. India Today's social media handles carry these reports as well. It's X or Twitter, YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. Our hashtag is Health360, Health360 Plus. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Until next time, take very good care of yourself. Bye for now.